Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
The girls of the Bluebell Patrol were on a nature walk. As they marched along, they looked for birds and animals, and when they spotted a woodland creature, they called out its name and added it to their list.
A robin!
A squirrel!
An elephant! And it's coming this way!
Cried the Bluebells, and they scattered.
Oh, you can come out. It's only me, Nellie the elephant.
Oh, what's an elephant doing here? Elephants belong in a jungle.
My home is in the jungle, and that's where I'm going, except I've no place to stay tonight.
Please, miss, let Nellie stay with us.
Yes, miss, she won't be any trouble.
No.
I suppose we ought to help, but has anyone here ever kept an elephant?
To be honest, no. They had cats, dogs, goldfish, hamsters and tortoises, but an elephant, nope.
I'm not even sure we can feed an elephant. What do elephants have for breakfast?
Well, actually, I don't eat much first thing in the morning. Just a dozen currant buns and a gallon of lemonade.
The little girls went all quiet. Even Hungry Harriet didn't eat that much in a week. But Miss Nettle reassured them.
Oh, we'll find a way, but look, it's grown quite dark. We'd better pitch our tents. Do you know how to put up a tent, Nellie?
Oh, yes. Back at the circus, we elephants always pull the ropes to get the big top up. I'll be glad to help.
Soon, it was lights out, and everyone was fast asleep. Even Nellie's snoring didn't disturb them. But something else was about to. It was Hungry Harriet with a rucksack full of currant buns. She was going to enjoy a little feast before you-know-who had all those buns for breakfast. Then suddenly, a huge ghost-like figure loomed up in the darkness.
Help! It's a ghost!
It's a ghost!
What's this? Come, girls, what's this about a ghost? Honest, miss, I saw it. A ghost, all in white. Ever so scary.
Miss Nettle wasn't really very keen on meeting this ghost, but as the patrol leader, she knew she must. Oh, if only someone would come with her.
I'll come with you, Miss Nettle. I've never seen a real ghost. What fun!
And so Nellie and Miss Nettle went ghost hunting. It was cold and dark, and for the moment the moon hid behind a cloud. Miss Nettle and Nellie paused as a dark shape started up in front of them. A moment later, the ghostly shape was revealed in the bright moonlight. Back at the camp, everyone was too excited to go back to sleep, so Miss Nettle organised a midnight feast.
Honestly, these are the best currant buns I've ever tasted.
And then it really was time to go to bed. As Nellie drifted off to sleep, the sounds of the crickets and night owls faded away. And she heard another sound. It came, as always, floating on the breeze and drifting in the wind. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
Nellie woke up suddenly, startled by strange noises.
What's that?
The thing, whatever it was that woke Nellie, was coming closer and closer. What could it be?
Well, I won't find out hiding here. Here goes. It's a monster.
It's an elephant.
It's definitely a monster.
It's definitely an elephant. And there it was, a huge, red, growling monster with two great staring eyes. Well, it looked like a monster with two great staring eyes. Actually, it was Farmer Styles' tractor, and those two staring eyes were headlamps. And the growling was nothing but its old noisy engine. Fancy that! An elephant in my wheat field! If she walks over my potato patch, do you know what I'll have? Mashed potatoes! When Nellie and Farmer Styles saw that each meant the other no harm, they smiled and were soon chatting away like old friends. Farmer Styles told Nellie all about life on the farm. The sheep that give us wool for woolly jumpers, and about the cows that give us milk, and the chickens that give us eggs. Then it was Nellie's turn to tell Farmer Styles all about her life in the circus, about the way she was dressed in funny costumes, rode a unicycle, and balanced all manner of objects on the end of her trunk.
That's why I ran away. Besides, I want to be with the elephant herd again, to roam free in the jungle of Mandalay. By the way, do you know where Mandalay is, Farmer Styles?
Sorry, Nellie, I don't. But there's a harbour nearby, and it's filled with huge ships that sail round the world. I'll take you there, after you've had lunch with Mrs. Styles and me.
That sounds like one of your lambs in trouble.
Bah! Help me, someone, please.
I can't drive my tractor into that mud, it'll sink. What can we do, Nellie?
This calls for an elephant rescue.
Bah! Bah!
Now what's wrong? You should be a happy little lamb.
Bah! Look at me. All covered in mud. Bah! My mum will be angry when she sees me like this. Bah!
Never mind, we'll soon fix that.
Nellie dipped her trunk into the duck pond, filled it with water, and washed the little lamb clean.
Bah! Thank you, Nellie.
Lunch is ready. Come and get it.
Wonderful, I'm famished.
Mrs. Styles must have known what elephants liked for lunch.
That was the most delicious meal I've had since I left the jungle. Thank you, Mrs. Styles.
And as Nellie thought of the jungle, she heard that special sound. It came, as always, floating on the breeze and drifting on the wind. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. It was time to go. We'll be on our way as soon as you like, Nellie. The tractor stopped beside the harbour wall. And remember, Nellie, any time you pass this way again, be sure to call in. You'll always be welcome. Nellie had never seen so many ships. Surely one of them would take her to Mandalay.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with the trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
Nellie stood on the harbour wall and read the names of the ships at the quayside.
Tugboat Tom, the North Sea Fisherman, the Jungle Queen. Ah, that's the ship for me. Excuse me, can I have one ticket for the Jungle Queen, please?
Steady as she goes, Nelson. We're almost out of harbour and heading for the open sea.
Aye, aye, Captain Jack.
Excuse me, Captain. This ship is going to Mandalay, isn't it?
Sorry, my dear, no. We're sailing to Oyster Bay. You might find a ship there for Mandalay. We don't usually carry animals on this ship. However, you look like a nice, reasonable elephant. Some animals are nothing but trouble, though. What are they, Nelson?
Trouble, Captain. Nothing but trouble.
Oh, I'm sure I won't be any trouble, Captain. Maybe I could even do something to help.
Well, yes. It's time the deck was scrubbed. Could you give Nelson a hand? Or a trunk?
Just in time, too. I'll have spam and chips and a strawberry milkshake. Right you are, Nelson. And what will you have, Nellie?
A glass of lemonade and 3 currant buns, please.
From the bridge, Captain Jack looked down, pleased with his bright, clean deck. He checked his map and compass to make sure they were on the right course and began to sing.
Shackle me giblets, this is the life. 8 more hours and I'll be home with the wife. Shackle me giblets, full steam ahead. A few more hours and I'll be tucked up in bed.
Then suddenly, the Jungle Queen sailed into a thick fog.
Jabber me jibsail. Lucky there aren't any other ships nearby. I can hardly see 2 feet in front of me face. That's another ship, and she's very close.
We'd better warn her with my fog on.
There's something wrong with our hooter. Nobody'll hear that. Nelson and Nellie, report to the bridge immediately. Unless we warn that ship to keep clear, we're sure to crash. But our hooter's not working, and there's nothing else we can do.
Oh, yes, there is, Captain Jack. I'll try an elephant call.
You've done it, Nellie. She's turning away, and just in time, too. Listen, the captain's calling out to us.
What a splendid foghorn, Captain Jack. Next time we meet, you must tell me where I can get one just like it.
I wonder what he'd say if I told him, never mind a foghorn, get yourself an elephant.
Oh, look, the fog's clearing, and that must be Oyster Bay off the starboard bow.
Well, Nellie, you're a marvel and no mistake. How'd you like to join Nelson and me aboard the Jungle Queen?
Nellie thought for a moment. The lemonade and carrot buns were delicious, and she'd made 2 very good friends, Captain Jack and Nelson the parrot. And then she heard that special sound. It came, as always, floating on the breeze and drifting on the wind. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. So, Nellie thanked the captain, said goodbye to Nelson, packed her trunk, and trundled off to the jungle.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
It was a cold but sunny morning. It had been snowing the night before. The world looked like a scene from a Christmas card. As Nellie turned the corner in the road, she saw Farmer Styles trying to break the ice on his duck pond.
Oh, give us a hand, Nellie.
But Nellie wasn't much help. Further down the road, Nellie came across Sergeant Boot, the local policeman, trying to get his car out of a ditch.
Sorry about that, Nellie. Give us a hand, would you?
But Nellie wasn't much help to him either.
Sorry about that, Sergeant Boot.
Help! Help! My front door's blocked and I can't get into my house.
Hold on, I'll see what I can do.
First, she tried to push the snow away. But that just made matters worse. Then she tried to suck it away in her trunk. And that didn't work either.
Oh dear, now my nose is frozen.
Poor Nellie. She wasn't much help to anyone today. As she came to the top of a hill, she saw some children tobogganing.
Oh, that looks fun. I wish I could join in.
Then Nellie heard someone crying.
What's the matter?
My toboggan won't go fast enough.
Oh dear. Well, why don't I give you a push? Ready?
Yeah?
Steady?
Yeah?
Go!
And the toboggan took off over the hill. The only trouble was, Nellie forgot to let go.
I think that's fast enough, don't you?
Yes,
You can let go now.
I know.
But instead of letting go, Nellie jumped on behind. And because of her weight, the toboggan went even faster. On and on they went, faster and faster, down another slope, across Farmer Styles' field, and headed straight for his duck pond.
Look out!
Hey! Oh, thank you, Nellie. On went the toboggan, down the road towards Sergeant Boot's car in the ditch.
Look out!
Jumping constables. Thank you, Nellie.
Further and faster they went, until finally the snowbound cottage loomed towards them.
Oh, look out!
Oh, thank you, Nellie. Here, Nellie, have another bun.
After tea, the little boy went home, and Nellie, who was very tired, settled herself down to sleep. And while she was dreaming, she heard that special sound. It came as always, floating on the breeze and drifting in the wind. The head of the herd was calling. So, before anyone was awake in the morning, Nellie the elephant trundled off to the jungle once again.
goodbye to the circus. Off she went with the trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with the trumpety trump, 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 trump.
The bus pulled up at the seaside and the driver turned to his only passenger. Far as we go, my dear. Next stop, the depot.
I thought this bus would take me home to Mandalay.
Mandalay? No, this is Pegleg Bay. Never mind. Why don't you have yourself a little holiday? You'll love it here.
But what is a holiday? I mean, what do you do on holiday?
Wow. You get your picture taken, go for donkey rides, and build sandcastles. And...
Help, please help me. I'm Tim and my sister Tess was paddling on a lilo and got caught in the current and she's being swept out to sea.
I can see her, Nellie, out there.
Don't worry, Tim. I'll save her.
Nellie ran into the sea and waded out towards the frightened little girl. It was very deep.
Oh, it's very deep. I'll have to swim now. Hang on, Tess. I'm coming.
From the shore, the crowd of bathers watched in amazement. They'd never seen an elephant do the doggy paddle. Soon, Nellie gripped the lilo and towed the little girl back to safety. How the children cheered Nellie as she carried Tess back to the shore.
Oh, please, can I have your autograph?
When Nellie was rewarded with a great big kiss, she blushed.
Honestly, it was nothing special. Any elephant would have done the same thing. Well, that's enough excitement for one day.
But there was more to come. Not far away, something was cooking at Harry's hot dog bar. Harry's hot dog bar, that's what was cooking. Fire! Fire! Me stand's on fire! Save me poor hot dogs! Oh, quick! Someone do something!
I will. This calls for another elephant rescue.
She filled her trunk full of seawater. Salty seawater.
Oh, yuck. I hate salty seawater.
Nellie ran towards Harry and his burning hot dog stand. Harry didn't know which was more frightening, the sight of his stand on fire or the sight of Nellie hurtling towards him with a trunk full of seawater. Oh, thank you, Nellie, for saving me bacon. I mean, me hot dogs, don't I? Oh, yeah. Have one free. How'd you like 'em?
Well done, please.
Oh, yeah, well done, please.
Yummy.
Nellie's brave deeds had not gone unnoticed. The mayor himself arrived, wearing a splendid robe and his chains of office. You have only been here a few short hours, Nellie, but in that time you have saved us from 2 disasters. So, on behalf of all the townspeople, I offer you this golden key and the freedom of the city. Well, the town, actually.
Please stay, Nellie.
Please don't go, Nellie.
Oh, don't go. Don't go.
I love you, Nellie. Nellie thought for a moment, and while she was thinking, she heard a special sound. It came, as always, floating on the breeze and drifting in the wind. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away.
Oh, this is a lovely place, and I have made so many new friends. But I'm afraid I must go.
So Nellie the Elephant packed her trunk, said a fond farewell to everyone on the beach, and trundled off to the jungle.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with the trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with the trumpety trump, 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 trump.
Oysters, fresh oysters.
Fresh fish, nice fresh fish, ladies.
Oysters, fresh oysters. Get your nice fresh oysters here.
What a pretty place. I really ought to take a few snapshots to show my friends back in the jungle.
Now, had Nellie remembered to take a camera along?
Of course I have. An elephant never forgets.
Suddenly, there was a drop of rain, then another and another. Then the rain came pouring down. Immediately, everyone raised an umbrella. All kinds of umbrellas. You never saw so many umbrellas. Nellie raised her umbrella too. She'd never used it before. When Nellie lived at the circus, she was always under the big tent when it rained. This was the first time she'd ever opened it.
This is no use. I need a much bigger umbrella. What you need is a raincoat. You go to Macintosh the tailor's, they'll fix you up.
Nellie trotted down the high street past many shops, trying to dodge between the raindrops, which isn't easy when you're an elephant. Then she saw it. A shop with a large selection of raincoats in the window.
You'd better hide the peanuts, Mr. Tosh. It's an elephant.
I haven't come here for peanuts. I need a raincoat.
Oh, come right this way. A raincoat for the nice elephant, Mr. Tosh.
Right away, Mr. Mac. Nellie tried on one raincoat after another. Too small, too long, too short, too fussy, too tight.
Oh, it's no use, Mr. Tosh. We'll have to make a raincoat for Nellie, but where can we get enough cloth?
Leave it to me, Mr. Mac. I'll find something. Meanwhile, you measure Nellie. Got it, Mr. Mac. Where are you?
Round the back. Come and give me a hand.
What a lovely raincoat. Where did you get the material, Mr. Tosh?
Oh, it's been hanging around the front of the shop for some time.
It's a lovely fit. Oh, thank you very much.
Nellie paid for the raincoat and was soon standing outside in the rain.
It's funny, but I'm sure I've seen this material somewhere before.
It's the circus. And he's coming this way.
At the mention of the word circus, Nellie turned pale with fright.
Oh, no.
If the ringmaster saw her, she'd be forced to go back to work in the circus. Then she'd never get home to Mandalay. Where could she hide?
Oysters, fresh oysters. Get your fresh oysters here.
Oysters, fresh oysters. Get your fresh oysters here.
And then, as the noise of the circus parade faded into the distance, Nellie heard another sound. It came, as always, floating on the breeze and drifting on the wind. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. It was time once again for Nellie to set out on the long road home.
Nellie the Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in a silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
Nellie was determined to return to her jungle home in Mandalay. She had walked and cycled. She'd travelled by train, by boat, by tractor, by coach, and even by balloon. And still home seemed as far away as ever.
Oyster Bay, the North Sea, Europe, the Indian Ocean. Oh, my goodness. Mandalay's on the other side of the world. Oh, I wonder if any of these ships are going there.
Jabber me jibsail, Nelson. Look who's on the quayside. It's Nellie. Over here, Nellie. We're about to sail for Oyster Bay. Here she comes up the gangway. Pipe her aboard, Nelson.
Aye, aye, Captain Jack. Piper aboard.
Right then. Cast off forward.
Cast off forward.
Cast off aft.
Cast off aft.
Must you repeat everything?
Must you repeat hello, Nellie.
Thanks for inviting me aboard, Captain Jack. Is there anything I can do to help?
Why, I'm glad you asked, Nellie. It's our inflatable dinghy. Can't seem to blow it up.
Here, give it to me. Let me have a go.
Here's a wonderful sight. Hey, come and look at this, Nellie.
Suddenly, an enormous whale rose to the surface and crashed through the waves with powerful strokes of her fins and huge tail. Then she blew a tall fountain of spray and disappeared. Nellie continued to watch, hoping for another glimpse of the great creature of the deep.
Oh, how exciting, Captain Jack. Now I can see a ship.
Where? Let me see. Great buttered barnacles. It's a whaling ship, and those sailors are out to catch that whale.
But we won't let them, will we, Captain?
No, sir. Stop the ship, and Nellie, you warn that whale she's in danger.
There's a whaling ship after you. Please swim away as fast as you can and we'll try to fool them. Do you understand?
Ahoy! The Jungle Queen! We saw a whale spouting, but we lost her. Have you seen a whale?
That was no whale, oh no. That was our Nellie the Elephant. Go on, Nellie, show him.
Yes, that's what it must have been, all right. Most unusual, seeing an elephant in the middle of the ocean.
Well, Nellie's a most unusual elephant. Start up engines, and we'll be on our way.
Can't start her up, Captain Jack. The battery's flat. We need a push.
And who's gonna give us a push?
Our good friend the whale, Captain Jack. That's who.
The push was all the Jungle Queen needed. She raced through the water, bound for Oyster Bay.
Ah, this is the life.
And then, above the sound of the waves and the cries of the gulls, that special sound came floating on the breeze and drifting in the wind. The head of the herd was calling.
I'm on my way. I'm going home.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
It was harvest time down on the farm. Up and back across the rolling fields, Farmer Styles drove his tractor. With all this cereal and me milk cows in the next field, I'll bet I could invite 1,000 people to breakfast and still have plenty left over. As Farmer Styles thought about that enormous breakfast party, it seemed so real that he could almost smell the toast burning. I can almost smell the toast burning.
Wait a minute. Something really is burning. It's my barn. Fire Brigade! Captain Match! It's Farmer Styles. My barn's on fire. How quickly can you get here? In no time at all. The lads have been doing a bit of maintenance on the engine. I'll see how it's coming along. A bit of a problem here, Farmer Styles. Could be a slight delay. How are you fixed for water buckets? Hello? Hello? One way or another, Farmer Styles had to put that fire out before it destroyed his barn. He ran down the narrow country lane as fast as he could. Now, someone else was jogging along that same country lane.
I'm in a bit of a hurry to get to Mandalay, and walking's too slow.
Hello, Nellie.
Farmer Styles, how are you? And Mrs. Styles?
No time for chat now, Nellie. My barn's on fire. They've taken the fire engine apart. There's no telling when they'll get to my farm. The barn's blazing away on water buckets, says Captain Match. I ask you, where am I going to get water, eh?
I know where. The duck pond. We'll save your barn, Farmer Styles.
Here, Nellie, grab a bucket.
No, I've a better idea.
In a matter of seconds, Nellie filled her trunk, raced to the burning barn, and showered the blazing timbers with gallons of water. Well now, Nellie, you're a wonder and no mistake. If I hadn't seen... Don't panic! Captain Match is here! Unwind the hose! Throttle the stopcock! Don't panic! Jiggle the what's-it! Leave a note for the milkman! Turn on the water! Right then. Where's the fire? Out! The fire's out, Captain Match! But as long as you're here, why don't you join us for tea? Tea's ready!
Oh, these currant buns are delicious, Mrs. Styles. Can I have another one?
Of course, Nellie. Help yourself. I've plenty more bacon in the oven. Oh, I smell something burning. Oh, no, not my currant buns. I wish you'd join our fire brigade, Nellie. You could sit up front with me and ring the bell.
Oh, that would be fun.
Dashing through country lanes, down busy city streets, with everyone making way as she rang the fire engine bell. But as Captain Match waited for her answer, Nellie heard a special sound. A sound no one else around that table could hear. It came floating on the breeze and drifting in the wind. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. He was calling Nellie home.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
Nellie was tired of walking and thought it would be quicker and easier to catch a plane.
It's like catching a bus, I expect. I'll just wait here until one stops. You silly elephant, Nellie. What were you doing? Catching a plane for Mandalay. Mandalay? You need one of those. It's called a jumbo jet. A jumbo jet? You mean you've named a plane after an elephant? Come with me, Nellie, and let's find you a seat.
She took Nellie to the check-in desk, where a lady was loading the passengers' luggage.
Have you got any luggage, Nellie?
What's luggage?
Bags, suitcases, or a trunk, perhaps?
Oh, I've got a trunk.
Then put it on there, please, and I'll give it a label.
Dear, oh dear, Nellie, what are we going to do with you?
Eventually, the air hostess found Nellie a seat on the plane. She fastened her seatbelt, and the plane was ready to take off. Once they were in the air, the hostess brought the passengers a meal.
Here we are, Nellie. Currant buns followed by currant buns, and then later I'll bring you some currant buns. Thank you. It's going to be a long journey, so we're going to show a film.
But then, something rather worrying happened. Hostess, to captain's flight deck immediately, please. Immediately, please. The hostess ran behind a little curtain, and Nellie could hear them whispering urgently. If you panic, then
Ladies and gentlemen, I have some very bad and serious news. The film projector has broken down.
Oh, no!
Don't panic, don't panic. I know what to do.
What? What?
I'll entertain you instead.
Oh, yes! And with that, Nellie began doing all her favourite circus tricks. The passengers were delighted, and the more they laughed and clapped, the bigger and better Nellie's tricks became. And the bigger and better her tricks became, the more the aeroplane rocked and rolled.
Captain, to control.
There's something wrong with the plane. Repeat.
Something wrong with the plane. Turn back and land. Repeat. Turn back.
Nellie came to the end of her tricks just as the plane was landing. And as the captain appeared, Nellie was taking her bow. Oh, thank you. Thank you, but really, well, it was nothing. The passengers were ready to take off again so that Nellie could carry on. But Nellie wasn't so keen. Over the roar of the planes taking off, She heard that special sound, floating on the breeze and drifting in the wind. The head of the herd was calling.
I'm back where I started. Huh. So much for aeroplanes. Quicker to walk if you ask me.
And Nellie the elephant trundled off to the jungle once again.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with the trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
It was a bad night at the theatre. Everything, absolutely everything, was going wrong. Mr. Tippett, the manager, introduced the first act.
Ladies and gentlemen, we proudly present a matey, a Max, the strongest man in the world. Before your very eyes, Max will lift a weight of 1,000 pounds, hold it high above his head, and recite 3 verses of a well-known poem.
The boy stood on the burning deck. His feet were hot as coals. He never took his shoes off because his socks were full of holes.
Get off! Get off!
I want my money back. And now, attempting the most dangerous juggling act ever, I give you the great Geraldo. With one hand behind his back, he will hold up his trousers. And with the other, he will juggle 7 fresh, mind you, eggs.
Rubbish!
I still want my money back.
Mr. Tippett was very worried.
I'm very worried. This show is a disaster. The audience hates it. We must find a act they like, or I'll have to close the theatre and we'll all be out of work.
It's Nellie. You know, the elephant who escaped from the circus? Oh, please don't turn me in. If the ringmaster catches me, he'll take me back to the circus where I did all those tricks to make people laugh and clap their hands and cheer.
Tricks? Clap their hands and cheer? Oh, if only we could make those people out there clap and cheer. Anyway, you're welcome to stay in our theatre until the danger's past, Nellie.
I know. Would you like me to entertain your audience?
Oh, yes, please, Nellie.
It's start time, folks. And Nellie the Elephant has interrupted our worldwide tour just to be with us tonight.
The audience loved it. They cheered and cheered.
Worth every penny.
Backstage, everyone gathered around Nellie, thanked her for a wonderful performance and asked for her autograph. And then, surrounded by her new friends and thrilled by the evening's events, Nellie heard that familiar sound. It came, as always, floating on the breeze and drifting in the wind. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. Nellie knew it was time to go. She slipped out the stage door. Then, under the light of a full moon, she set out on the long road back to the jungle.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
It was a wild and stormy night. Nellie had been travelling for hours, and now she was looking for a place to sleep.
The people in the village said to try Faversham Lodge. But why did they say they wouldn't like to spend a night here?
PC Plover at your service, Nellie, and I'll tell you why. Ever since the owners left on holiday, there have been strange goings-on here. Ghostly figures, lights that go on and off. That's why folks round here say the lodge is haunted. Of course, I don't believe that myself.
I'm not afraid. Anyway, I'm too tired to go any further.
Well, if there's any trouble, Nellie, just give us a call and I'll come running.
Hello? Hello? Oh, the bedrooms must be up there. Oh dear, what's that? Goodness, I'm getting jumpy. It's only a mouse. There's no one else here but me, so there's nothing to be afraid of.
But she was wrong. Down in the cellar, Sam the removal man and Dopey Dan his nephew were stealing everything in sight. And just to make sure everyone stayed well clear of Faversham Lodge, Sam and Dan made ghostly sounds that scared everyone for miles around.
There's someone else in this house, Sam. Do you suppose it's a real ghost?
No, Dopey. Whoever it is, they're bound to go into the Great Hall. You hide in the moose head and give them the fright of their life.
Still looking for a place to sleep, Nellie wandered into an enormous room.
Leave Faversham Lodge, little elephant, or you'll never eat another peanut again.
I'm not leaving just because some old moosehead says so. Besides, I prefer currant buns.
Hang about. I never heard an elephant talk.
And I never heard a moose talk either. What a scaredy cat.
Oh, I must find a bed and go to sleep. There's an elephant in this house, Sam. Let's go now.
Just a few more goodies and we'll be off.
Oh, what a lovely bed. I can't wait to jump into it.
Ooh, I came as soon as I could, Nellie. Upon my soul. Come out, you two. You're under arrest. Congratulations, Nellie.
Why don't you join the police force? You could be a sergeant in no time.
Sergeant Nellie the Elephant.
For a moment, Nellie was lost in a daydream. Sergeant Nellie. In a fast police car, she could hear the siren, the screech of tyres rounding a corner. And then she heard another sound. It floated on the breeze and drifted in the wind. Yes, it was the head of the herd calling from far, far away. Being a police sergeant would be exciting, thought Nellie.
Oh, but being back in Mandalay with all my friends would be even better.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in a silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
Nellie was sleeping soundly behind a bush in the park.
Oh!
Sorry, love. I've got to get this place tidied and ready for the midsummer disco.
The Midsummer Disco? What's that?
Disco! You know, music and dancing. Nothing like a little rave up, is there?
Oh, I love dancing. Can I come?
Anyone can come, so long as they're wearing party clothes.
What sort of party clothes?
Anything you like, so long as it's different. Nellie was very excited. She jumped to her feet, stretched, took a deep breath, and set off to find some party clothes.
So long as it's different.
Nellie thought long and hard about what to wear. Soon she came to a busy road, so a lollipop lady held up the traffic for her.
Take my advice, Nellie. Use a zebra crossing next time. Thank you. Won't the zebras mind?
The lollipop lady laughed as she went on her way. Nellie came to some shops. She pressed her trunk against the shop windows, wondering what she could buy.
Now, what could I buy? I must look as smart and as different as I can.
Nellie tried on lots of clothes in lots of different shops.
Oh, it doesn't quite go with my ears. Somehow it's not really me. A touch too tight on the waist, I think. Gone awfully dark in here suddenly. Not very comfy for walking in.
All in all, it wasn't a very good day's shopping. In fact, Nellie hadn't bought any party clothes at all, and she began to give up any hope of going to the park disco.
Oh, well. I'm supposed to be on my way back to the jungle. Who wants to go to a silly old disco anyway?
Actually, Nellie did, but she was trying to pretend she didn't. She pretended to forget all about it and get on with her journey. Now, to get back on the road to Mandalay, Nellie had to go through the park again. Hearing the music, she couldn't resist peeking from behind a bush. Everyone was certainly having a lovely time.
Silly. Who would want to join in that? Anyway, I couldn't possibly. I don't look at all different.
And just as Nellie was about to go, a terrible thing happened.
Hey! There's someone in the bushes!
The music stopped, the light swung round on the bush, and Nellie didn't know what to do. She tried to make herself as thin as possible and hide behind a tree. Oh, but it was no good. Nellie stepped out of the shadows and everyone gathered round.
Hey, Nellie, you look terrific.
Do I? Yes, I suppose I do, really. It's just something I keep for special occasions.
And everyone wanted to dance with her. The music got louder and louder and Nellie danced and danced. She thought she could go on all night. But above the music, Nellie suddenly heard another sound, floating on the breeze and drifting in the wind. Yes, the head of the herd was calling from far, far away. So Nellie the Elephant slipped quietly away and boogied her way back to the jungle once again.
Nellie the Elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the Elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the Elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the Elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
Nellie was in a very happy mood. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, and she was well on her way to Mandalay. Well on her way, that is, until something rather unpleasant happened. Suddenly, over the hedge, Nellie could see caravans and lights and hear music, and that could only mean one thing.
The circus! No, thank you. I don't want to go back to the circus again. We'll have to find another road.
Nellie disguised herself and ran off before any of the circus people saw her. Hello.
Oh, hello. What's the matter?
Oh, I have to get home and make the tea, so she's no one to take her.
Oh, dear.
No one apart from you, that is.
Me? Go in there, you mean?
She'd be safe with you, and it'd really make her birthday.
Her birthday?
What a difficult decision for Nellie. Would she take the little girl to the circus and risk being caught? Or would she spoil the little girl's birthday?
Oh, come on. Of course I'll take you.
She jumped on her back as Nellie bravely set off towards the circus. As they got nearer, Nellie noticed something rather strange. There was no tent and no cages for the animals and not a clown in sight.
But this is a fun fair. Of course it's a fun fair, silly. What did you think it was? Oh, nothing. Yippee!
And with a giant leap, Nellie bounded through the entrance. Once inside, Nellie and her friend couldn't decide which things to go on.
The big wheel, the bumper cars, the ghost train, the helter-skelter.
So they settled on some candy floss and agreed to go on everything. Nellie and her little friend had a wonderful time at the fun fair.
Oh, I've had a wonderful time, thank you. Thank you, I've had a wonderful time too. Will you come home and have a birthday tea with me? Oh, that's very kind, but I've a long way to go and we're having homemade currant buns.
And just as Nellie was about to say yes, she heard that special sound again. The head of the herd calling. From far, far away? Well, no. As a matter of fact, this time it seemed a bit closer.
I think I'd better be off. By the way, I don't know your name. My name's Nellie. What's yours?
Nellie smiled.
My name's Nellie, too. Goodbye, Nellie, too. Thank you again.
So the two friends went their separate ways. One Nellie home for a birthday tea, the other Nellie to Mandalay.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
Out of the way! Clear the road! Mrs. Maple's cat is at it again!
Oh, poor Mrs. Maple.
What a moggy. I've heard of cats having 9 lives. This one must have 100.
Why is everyone so excited about Mrs. Maple's cat?
Because this is no ordinary cat, Nellie. Not one of your happy chase a squirrel up a tree, chase a mouse around the kitchen cats. This one, he's called Tiger. He likes danger. And we have to rescue him every time he lands himself in a terrible predicament.
What's a predicament?
A predicament is a cat what has got itself lost and the good old fire brigade has to look for it high and low, search every nook and cranny, and finally finds that cat trapped in a post box.
Gosh, how did you solve that predicament?
We prized open the post box, stuck a stamp on Tiger's head and sent him home.
5p to pay, missus.
And what's happening now?
Someone has got himself stuck in the deepest well in the village, that's what. A well so deep, we've had to send a diver down to bring him up. Here he comes now. Whew. And that's that. I don't think Tiger will get into any more mischief today.
Well then, I'll call on Mr. Mac and Mr. Tosh. I promised to show them my photo album.
Oh, look at that, Mr. Tosh. It's Nellie with a bucket and spade at the seaside. You do take a lovely picture, Nellie.
Help! Help! Tiger is trapped high on a telephone wire. I've called the fire brigade, but they're miles away. Oh, if someone doesn't get up there soon and save him. Don't worry, Mrs. Maple. I'll save old Tiger.
Everyone hurried to the village's only telephone pole, and yes, there was Tiger, enjoying every minute of his latest adventure. As Nellie reached the top of the telephone pole, she remembered her circus days, the long climb to the roof of the big tent, stepping out onto the thin wire, balancing with her umbrella, the glare of the spotlights, and never looking down at the crowd below.
tallest elephant in the whole world. Oh, honestly, Mrs. Maple, it was nothing special.
Well, I think it was something extra special. How'd you like to join the fire brigade, Nellie?
How exciting that would be.
She could almost hear the roar of the motor, the clang, clang of the fire bell. And then she heard another sound. It came, as always, floating on the breeze and drifting in the wind. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. And so, while all the villagers rushed home to see if their telephones were still working, Nellie slipped away behind the fire engine and followed the long road to the distant hills.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
Oh, I wish I could fly. I'd be in Mandalay in no time.
I, the great Alfredo, am traveling the world in my magnificent balloon.
Will you be going to Mandalay?
Of course.
Oh, good.
I shall go to every... Hey, what are you doing?
Anywhere near the jungle will do.
I cannot take you with me. Ha! Can you imagine an elephant in a balloon? Ha!
The great Alfredo laughed. And as the crowd laughed with him, no one noticed that the balloon was actually taking off. Before long, Nellie and the great Alfredo were like old friends.
Oh, I'm rather hungry. Shall we stop for some food?
Hey, what a good idea!
What a funny place. Where are we?
Italy! This is the great circus of Rome.
Time they got a new tent, I'd say. Where to now?
Wherever it blows, I follow the wind. Nya-ha!
Oh, I'm frozen. Can we stop for some warm clothes?
Hey, what a good idea!
Where are we?
Moscow, the capital of Russia. Da-da-da-da-da-dum-bum-ba. Boom, da-da-da-da-da-dum-dum-da. Boom, boom, hi-ya-da-ba-da-boom-ba-ba.
Where to now?
Wherever it blows, I follow the wind.
I'm boiling. Could we stop for a dip?
Hey, what a good idea!
Where are we now?
Niagara Falls! Come, we dip!
As Nellie played in the waterfall, she remembered the cool rivers of Mandalay. How she wanted to be there.
Can we go to Mandalay now?
Perhaps? Who knows?
But I thought you said...
Wherever it blows, I follow the wind.
as Nellie wondered if she'd ever get home, she heard that special sound again. It came, as always, floating on the breeze and drifting in the wind. The head of the herd was calling.
Oh, look, down there. There's a crowd of people. Let's land and ask them the way.
Hey, what a good idea!
And you know where they were, don't you?
Back where we started.
As mayor of Upper Littledown, I present you with this trophy, Nellie.
What for?
Being the first elephant to fly round the world in a balloon.
I didn't want to go round the world. Halfway would have done, to Mandalay.
And this trophy to the great Alfredo.
Oh, thank you. It was nothing.
I know. Don't say it.
Hey-ho! Off we go! Again.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
It was a rainy afternoon, and Nellie was wet and hungry. She took shelter with a crowd of people who seemed to be queuing for something.
We're going on a tour of the space station. Isn't it exciting?
Nellie wasn't very interested in space stations. She was more interested in filling her tummy with currant buns.
Oh, sorry.
As the queue moved into the building, Nellie saw a door with a sign on it.
Salt and pepper. Oh, that must be the restaurant. I wonder if currant buns are on the menu. Oh, it looks like somebody's burned the cakes.
Suddenly, someone handed her a goldfish bowl. Hey, don't forget this!
What's it for?
You wear it, silly! Come on, hurry up! We're just about to blast off!
Blast off? Blast off to where?
Where do you think? Come on, through the hatch, please!
But
it was too late. Before Nellie knew what was happening, she was sitting in a seat with a goldfish bowl on her head. She was, of course, in a space rocket. 3, 2, 1, ignition! Blast off!
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our special trip for an afternoon on the moon. We hope you have a safe journey and enjoy the scenery.
the moon? Oh, I don't want to go to the moon. I want to go to Mandalay.
But when Nellie looked out of her porthole, she soon forgot about Mandalay. It really was a wonderful sight. It took quite a long time to get there, but eventually the space rocket arrived.
Oh, goodness. I knew I was hungry, but I seem to have lost all my weight. Oh, this is fun. Look at me, I can fly.
Nellie had a wonderful time and even made friends with visitors from other planets. But she couldn't understand them very well. Soon, it was time to go home. She boarded the spaceship and took off. Nellie was exhausted and quickly fell asleep. she was woken up with a start, or rather a stop. The spaceship had broken down and was drifting away from Earth. The crew were scratching their helmets, wondering what to do.
Hey, I guess we're stuck. What are we gonna do? Oh, I don't know, really. What do you think we should do?
I know what to do. Find me a feather.
So someone did.
Now, open the hatch and tickle my trunk. Achoo!
Hey, yeah! Go, go, go!
When the spaceship finally touched down, the crew thanked Nellie for getting them safely home. Your sneeze is better than any engine, Nellie. At least it never goes wrong. Hey, why don't you join the crew? But Nellie didn't hear them. She was listening for another sound, which came, as always, floating on the breeze and drifting in the wind. So, Nellie the Elephant took off her helmet and trundled off to the jungle once again.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
It was a very hot day, and Nellie had been walking since early morning. How she longed for the cool rivers of Mandalay. As she turned the corner, she heard a familiar and pleasant sound. Water, and splashing, and laughter. Could it possibly be? Nellie peeked over a high wall beside the road. It didn't look like the Mandalay River, but it had been a long time since Nellie had been there, and it might have all changed. Hello?
Oh, hello. Is this the Mandalay River that runs through the valley of Snowy Peak Mountain?
No, it's the municipal baths, and you can't swim here without a costume.
A costume? What? You mean fancy dress?
A swimming costume. Something to cover your...
Cover what?
Oh, just put this on, will you? Changing rooms are over there. So, Nellie went off to change. It was a bit of an effort for Nellie, but eventually she managed to get herself into a funny little costume.
Right. Here I come.
And with a leap and 2 bounds, Nellie jumped into the water. She joined in the fun and splashed and dived and squirted and swam. That afternoon, there was a beauty competition for all the ladies. Nellie was given a number and lined up with the others beside the pool. They were all different shapes and sizes. We can't have a competition without a judge. So the pool attendant found one doing the breaststroke. And without more ado, the competition began. The judge walked along the line of ladies. In the hot, steamy baths, the judge's spectacles misted up. He really couldn't see at all well. It was a very difficult decision.
It's, a very difficult decision. A very fine nose on this young lady. And a delightful hairdo. Altogether a fine figure of a lady.
The crowd fell silent as the judge appeared to be coming to a decision.
I think I'm coming to a decision. I declare... What's your name?
Me? Oh, Nellie.
I declare that the most beautiful of all here today is Nellie.
The crowd went wild with applause. Nellie blushed with delight, and the judge, with his wig all wet, was just about to go home when the pool attendant stopped him. One moment, Your Worship. You haven't given Nellie her prize.
Haven't I? Oh, so I haven't. Gracious me. Here we are, my dear. A bunch of flowers and a kiss from me.
Oh, Judge. Everyone laughed. It had been a lovely day and everyone wanted Nellie to stay.
Oh, stay, Nellie.
Oh, please stay.
Stay for tea.
Oh, please, Nellie, stay. There's a swimming gala tomorrow, Nellie.
Well...
And just as Nellie was about to agree, it came, as always, drifting in the wind and floating on the breeze. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away.
Thank you, but... no.
And Nellie the Elephant handed back her swimming costume, said goodbye to her friends, and trundled off to the jungle once again.
Nellie the Elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the Elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the Elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the Elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
Nellie was passing a phone box when she heard it ringing.
Oh, I expect that's for me. Hello, Nellie here. Who's speaking, please?
Hello, Nellie. This is Commander Spotterlot. I am lost.
Where are you?
If I knew that, I wouldn't be lost, would I?
But where are you ringing from?
Somewhere overhead.
Where? I can't... Oh!
Welcome aboard, Nellie.
Thank you. What seems to be the problem?
We can't get home.
Oh dear, neither can I. Where do you live?
Pantaloon.
I'm from Mandalay, actually. Let's have tea and see if we can help each other.
Good idea.
Oh, that was quick. Currant buns. How did you know I like those?
This is Monty. He can read your mind.
Over tea, Commander Spotterlot told Nellie all about his journey from Pantaloon, and she told him all about leaving the circus. Then he showed her around his flying saucer. It was very interesting, but by the end of it all, they still couldn't think how to help each other. Then Nellie had an idea.
I know. Now, where's my... Thank you. I went to the moon once and they gave me a map. I'm sure it's in here. Here we are. Now, if you take me to this place on the moon, I've got some friends there who might help.
So they went.
This way. Follow me.
Nellie soon found her old friends who got on very well with Commander Spotterlot. And sure enough, one of them knew exactly where Pantaloon was and showed the commander the way. Commander Spot-a-Lot thanked Nellie for her help, said goodbye, and took off. Then Nellie realised something.
Oh, dear.
She'd been so busy helping, she'd forgotten to ask for a lift to Mandalay.
Oh, dear, oh, dear.
Poor Nellie. She wasn't even on the right planet.
I'm not even on the right planet.
And to make matters worse, she heard that special sound. It came floating in the stratosphere and drifting in space. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away.
I'll never get back to Mandalay now.
Hello, Nellie. You're a long way from home.
I know. Oh, you wouldn't be going near Mandalay, would you?
Afraid not, but I'll drop you as near as I can. It's all right, Nellie. I'll handle this. Hello? Yes? I beg your pardon? Could you speak a bit louder, please? I'm having great problems hearing you at this end. You're not directory inquiries, are you? No? Oh, you're not one of these new chat line services, are you? If so, can you please get off the line immediately? I think someone is trying to get in touch with me. Now, please. And Nellie the Elephant set off again to find the jungle.
Nellie the Elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the Elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the Elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the Elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
Nellie was sleeping peacefully in a deck chair by the seaside when she was woken with a start. A brass band had begun playing on the seafront. Nellie wasn't at all pleased. She'd walked a long way, was enjoying a little rest and a snooze, but now all she wanted was a little peace and quiet. But it was no good. The brass band was playing, and that was that. Or was it?
Oh, thank goodness for that. Now perhaps I can get a little...
More!
Nowhere. More? Oh, no.
I'm sorry, but we can't carry on. There's nothing I can do. Our trombone player has gone missing.
Play! 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 Play!
The audience became very angry, and the band leader didn't know what to do. Ladies and gentlemen, please control yourself.
Right, that's it. I've had enough. Quiet! Thank you. Now then, who's in charge here?
I am. Or I was.
Right. Start playing.
But how can we play without a trombone?
Never mind, you play and leave the rest to me.
So the band started playing again, and out of nowhere appeared a trombone player. And the audience were as happy as anything. In fact, the band never even finished the first tune.
Shh! Come on, lads. Quietly does it.
They slipped silently away so as not to wake anyone, especially Nellie.
At last.
And just as she was going off to sleep, Nellie heard it. That special sound. It came floating on the sea breeze and drifting in the wind. The head of the herd was calling.
Just a few more minutes. Oh dear,
So Nellie the Elephant packed her trunk, said a fond farewell to everyone on the beach, and trundled off to the jungle.
Nellie the Elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the Elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the Elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the Elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
Look at all those children jumping up and down. I wonder what's happening. It's the Penny Lane School Sports Day. I'm Andy, the team captain, and you're just in time, Nellie, because we need one more player on our team. But I wonder if the judges will let an elephant play.
No, she's too tall.
No, she's too wide.
Yes, because I'm the only judge with a whistle. And if Nellie can't play, I'm taking my whistle and going home.
When they heard that, the other judges agreed an elephant on the school team was a splendid idea.
Take your place, Nellie. This is the 100-metre dash.
On your mark.
Should someone give her the kiss of life?
Very difficult giving an elephant the kiss of life. Perhaps a little peck on the cheek?
Oh, where am I? What happened? You fainted with the starting pistol went off. I hope you're all right. Oh, yes, I'm fine. Someone's got to do the long jump. I'll do my best, Andy. Isn't Nellie rather heavy to be jumping about? I'll be all right. I had a light breakfast.
That may well have been the longest long jump ever recorded on this playing field. But as there's no sand left, I'm afraid your jump won't count.
What a disappointment. Nellie felt she'd really let her friends down. If only she could make up for it by winning just one event.
Never mind, Nellie. You'll do better in the water sports.
Water sports? That's more like it. Nellie remembered the good old days, playing about in a pool of water in the jungle. This was her big chance.
Here I come, ready or not.
Oh dear. Not a very good dive. The judges didn't give Nellie a single point.
I failed again. I'll just pick up my things in the changing room and slip away quietly.
Meanwhile, on the playing field, Andy and the Penny Lane team were in the tug-of-war contest. They fought gallantly, but they were no match for the big lads of the other school. Slowly but surely they were being dragged towards the line. A great cry rose from the stands.
We want Nellie! We want Nellie! We want Nellie!
It's Nellie come to help us, hooray! I hope I'm not too late. All together now? 1, 2, heave!
I declare the Penny Lane Junior School the winners!
Amid the cheers and bustle of the crowds, Nellie and her new friends posed for the team photograph. As the sounds of the playing field faded away, Nellie heard another sound. It came, as always, floating on the breeze and drifting in the wind. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. Once again, it was time for Nellie to say farewell and to travel the long road back to Mandalay.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
I'll never get back to Mandalay now.
Nellie had been reading a book about the jungle, but there was nothing in it about Mandalay, so she took it back to the library.
Hello?
Shh!
Sorry?
Shh!
Oh, sorry. I'm just bringing my book back.
What?
I'm just... Sorry. Ow!
Shh!
Sorry. Oh, do you have any books about Mandalay, please?
Third shelf on the right.
Thank you.
Shh!
Sorry. Whoops. Sorry, stupid thing. It's stuck. Sorry. Sorry. Now then, Mandalay. It's all right. It's gone. Sorry.
As Nellie settled down to read all about Mandalay, it brought back so many memories. Then she heard that special sound again. It came, as always, floating on the breeze and...
Shh.
Oh, sorry, Nellie.
Floating on the breeze and drifting in the wind, the head of the herd was calling from far, far away.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
Nellie was having the time of her life cruising around the world on an ocean liner.
But oh, I've missed my currant buns. I mean, I couldn't get them anywhere. Not in China.
Ah, so sorry. Maybe you like delicious pancake roll instead.
Not in Italy.
Mamma mia! I have the spaghetti, macaroni, pizza, mozzarella.
And none in America.
Hi there, Nellie. How about a giant donut to go? With chocolate icing, maple syrup, tutti frutti, brown sugar, strawberry jelly.
Yuck. They don't even have currant buns on this ship. All we get after dinner is bread pudding. And it's heavy, very heavy. Ah!
Do you mind?
Oh, sorry. Would you like a plaster for that bump or...
And ho! Land off the starboard bow!
And there it was, on the far horizon, a desert island. All passengers are invited to go ashore for a short walk, but we haven't much time. The tide goes out in an hour, and we must sail away before then. Remember, we sail in 1 hour.
Smile for the camera. Oh, lovely. Say cheese. That's it. Ah, this is the life. I haven't had so much fun since I left Mandalay.
Nellie was so busy taking photographs, she lost all track of time. Suddenly, she remembered the captain's warning. Remember, we sail in 1 hour. Oh, dear. Nellie missed the boat.
Oh, dear. I've missed the boat.
She was abandoned on a lonely desert island.
It could be years before another ship comes by. What's that?
Oh, bonjour, mademoiselle. Vive la France and all that. I have just finished digging this tunnel between England and France, and hang on, you're not a mademoiselle. You're an elephant, and this isn't France. Where are we?
I really don't know. A desert island somewhere in the middle of the ocean. We're lost. and no one will ever find us.
Oh, no, don't you worry, little lady. We're not lost. All we have to do is go back through the tunnel to where I started.
Where did you start the tunnel?
Oyster Bay!
Oyster Bay? That's wonderful! I've some good friends there, Mr. Mac and Mr. Tosh. Oh, it will be good to see them again.
I say, Nellie, that's a very pretty desert island. And just look at all those coconuts, Mr. Tosh. No one would ever go hungry there.
Oh, yes, plenty of coconuts, Mr. Mac, but no currant buns.
And then, above the laughter and joviality, Nellie heard a familiar sound. It came, as always, floating on the breeze and drifting in the wind. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away, calling her back to the jungle once again.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
It was a golden autumn afternoon. The sun danced behind the clouds and the trees were singing.
Hey, just a minute. Trees don't sing. Ow!
Oh, sorry, my dear. It was meant to go in the basket.
Singing trees my trunk. They're apple pickers. Ow!
Sorry, Nellie. If you move yourself, you won't get hurt.
Can I help?
No, thanks. You'd only get in the way.
No, I wouldn't.
What could you do anyway?
Watch, I'll show you.
Oh!
Well, that's that tree done anyway.
Do us all a favour, Nellie, and stay out of everyone's way.
Sorry, I'm only trying to help. Whoops!
Oi, that was my tea, that was.
Oh, well, no need to cut the crusts off now anyway.
What's so funny?
Nothing. Are you sure I can't help?
No, thanks. What could you do anyway?
Watch, I'll show you.
Nellie, for the last time, will you sit over there by the apple cart and stop trying to help?
Sorry. I can pick apples as well as the next man, just because I'm an elephant.
That's the lot, Bert. All finished. Nellie, you've ruined my whole harvest. You silly elephant. How am I going to sell squashed?
The chief apple picker stopped. He looked down and could hardly believe his eyes.
That tastes good. You knew something, Nellie?
What?
I think you've discovered something.
Have I?
Apple squash!
Come on, everyone. Let's have a party and we'll all toast Nellie.
Toast me? What for? What have I done now?
No, not that sort of toasted Nellie. Come on, everyone. Fill your cups and 3 cheers for Nellie.
Hooray for Nellie! Hooray for Nellie!
Hip, hip!
Hooray!
Hip, hip!
Hooray!
Hip, hip! Hooray!
And before very long, on that very spot, the chief picker built a factory. And over the noise of fizzing and squelching, Nellie heard that other sound. It came floating on the breeze and drifting in the wind. The head of the herd was calling.
One for the road, Nellie.
Oh, all right. Just one then.
And she trundled off to the jungle once again.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
Nellie was very excited. She'd been given some tickets to watch the Olympic Games. Teams from all over the world were taking part. They marched around the stadium carrying their country's flag. Nellie suddenly noticed something. Something that made her very cross and very upset indeed.
Just a minute. What's going on?
She pushed her way through the crowd to find the referee's office.
Yes, my dear. Is something wrong?
Wrong? I should say there's something wrong. Where's the team from Mandalay?
Mandalay? There isn't one.
Isn't there?
Nope.
Well, there is now.
And with that, Nellie stormed out of the referee's office and reappeared in the arena 2 seconds later, ready to take on the world.
No team from Mandalay. Huh. We may be a little country, but we're as good as anyone else.
And before anyone could stop her, Nellie began to take part in the Olympic Games. Nellie did very well. She did very well indeed. She was better than everyone else at everything. Well, almost everything. By the end of the day, Nellie had collected lots of medals. Nellie felt very proud as she imagined all her friends in Mandalay watching her on television. Suddenly, the referee tapped Nellie on the shoulder.
I'm afraid there's been a mistake, Nellie.
Mistake? What do you mean?
I'm afraid you can't have these medals.
You mean I didn't win?
Oh, you won all right. But everyone taking part comes from a different country, like Britain or America.
I know, and I come from Mandalay.
But Mandalay isn't a country, Nellie. It's a town, like London. So you see, my dear, you shouldn't have taken part in the first place. Which means that you're not really allowed to win.
But I did win, didn't I?
Yes.
So why can't I have a prize?
You can, Nellie. Here. I'm only sorry it can't be a gold medal, that's all.
Oh, well, gold medals don't taste very nice anyway.
The referee laughed, the other athletes applauded, and the crowd cheered again as Nellie did a victory run around the stadium. But above the sound of clapping and cheering, Nellie heard another sound. It came, as always, floating on the breeze and drifting on the wind. The head of the herd was calling. So, before anyone noticed, Nellie the Elephant slipped through a door and sprinted off to the jungle once again.
Nellie the Elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the Elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the Elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the Elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
The happiest passenger on the railway train was Nellie the Elephant. This was the way to travel.
Especially when you sit next to the window.
As the train raced through the countryside, Nellie grew drowsy and drifted off to sleep.
Oh, God! Someone's trying to saw this carriage in half.
Not to worry, madam. It's only a sleeping elephant.
Only an elephant? And how, may I ask, did an elephant get on this train?
How do you think she got on this train? Oh, same as what you did, madam. She bought a ticket, that's how.
What's happening?
Here, what's up? We've just stopped to take on water, folks. Nothing's wrong.
Oh, yes, there is. I've lost my water hose. I need something to get the water from the tank to my engine.
Something like an elephant's trunk?
Yes, but where will I find an elephant? Hang on a minute. You're an elephant.
It took Nellie only a few minutes to fill her trunk with water and pour it into the engine, and soon the train was on its way again.
Your ticket says Mandalay, Nellie.
Mandalay, actually.
Yes, I know, that's what it says. But we only go as far as Peanut Junction. You can change trains there, though, and you can eat all the peanuts you want at Peanut Junction.
Thanks, but actually, I like currant buns better than peanuts.
Then you're in luck, Nellie, because here comes the snack trolley with a nice pot of tea and a tray of...
Currant buns! Oh, thank you.
So Nellie settled down to enjoy a nice, quiet tea.
Oh, what's happening? We seem to be slowing down.
Looks like we're stuck on a steep hill. Aye, what's wrong with this train?
How long will we be here?
Not long, folks. The circus train will be along any minute and it'll push us up the hill.
Oh, dear. Not the circus train.
If the owner of the circus saw Nellie, she'd be back in the circus just like that. Back to the life of a performing elephant, and she'd never see the jungle again. Quick, Nellie, think of something.
That is a elephant rescue call. Hey, wonder what Nellie's up to.
Nellie wasn't going to wait. She'd push her train up and over the hill. But it was a big train, a heavy train. Nellie pushed once, twice. Nothing happened.
Try again, Nellie, or take the brake off.
Oh, I don't want to go back to the circus. One more try. Oh,
Look, we're moving.
Aye, here comes Nellie. Well done, Nellie. Thanks to you, the train will arrive on time.
3 cheers for Nellie. Hip hip. Hooray! Hip hip. Hooray! Hip hip. Hooray!
Nellie for Prime Minister.
Above the sound of the speeding train, Nellie heard another sound. It came, as always, floating on the breeze and drifting on the wind. The head of the herd was calling. She could hardly wait to get to the big railway station in Peanut Junction. That's where she'd find a train to Mandalay.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
Nellie was high up in the mountains and a little bit lost.
excuse me, but does anyone know...
And the next ski jumper is Nellie from Mandalay. Here she comes now.
But I can't... Help!
Poor Nellie. She'd walked straight into some skiing championships.
Oh, dear. Oh, my goodness. I know. My suitcase. I'm sure that somewhere in here there's a... Yes, I knew I had one.
Well done, Nellie. That looks like a record.
No, it's an umbrella, actually. Oh, could you tell me the way to Mandalay, please?
Mandalay? I've no idea. Try the ice rink. So Nellie did.
Excuse me. Whoops! Excuse me. Whoops! I say, whoops!
And now we have a surprise entrant, Nellie the Elephant.
Does anyone, by any chance, know the way to Mandalay, please?
Brilliant, Nellie. Who taught you to do that?
Oh, I just picked it up as I went along. Oh, could you tell me the way to Mandalay, please?
Afraid not. Try the bobsleigh, Nellie.
Excuse me, which one of you is Bob? Mandalay, please. I'm in a hurry. Whoa! slow down a bit? Driver! Look here, if you don't slow down, I'll drive it myself. Now, sure there must be a brake here somewhere. Now, where am I? Oh, I want to go down, not up.
Attention! Attention! Everyone to the chairlift for a special event. A high fire display by Nellie.
Oh, no. This is like being back at the circus.
As Nellie reached the bottom, everyone gathered to greet her.
You're the champion of the slopes, Nellie. Name your prize. Anything you want.
Anything? Oh, well...
And then she heard it, that special sound. It came, as always, floating on the breeze and drifting in the wind. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away.
Could someone tell me the way to Mandalay, please?
So someone did. And Nellie the Elephant set off again to find the jungle.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
Nellie was looking for a train that would take her to Mandalay. She had everything she needed for the journey, and most important of all, 10 full bags of currant buns.
I'll save them up and eat one a day. One a day till Mandalay.
She read the train map very carefully, but there was nowhere that said either Mandalay or jungle. So she decided to go to Collier's Wood.
Woods have trees, and you find trees in the jungle. I'm sure that'll take me in the right direction.
So Nellie bought a ticket, and as the train set off, Nellie settled herself into 2 seats.
It's going to be a long journey. Time for a bun, I think.
Nellie tucked into a currant bun, or 2, or 3, or 6.
Oh dear, all gone. Oh well, they'll be safer in my tummy.
So much for one a day. The other thing Nellie hadn't noticed was that she was now sitting in 4 seats and not 2. Well, when the train arrived at Collier's Wood, the doors opened. Nellie got up to leave, and for some strange reason, she wouldn't fit through the doors. She pushed and she squeezed, but there was no way Nellie was going to get off that train.
Come on, Nellie. I've got a timetable to keep.
Shan't be a moment.
I say, hurry up there, will you?
Shan't be long. Excuse me, but will somebody please move that elephant? I'm supposed to be at the hairdresser. And nearly there.
But it was no good. She even tried getting off backwards, but that just made matters worse.
Tell you what, let's all give her a push.
So they did. And she stuck.
I know. Let's all give her a pull.
And she jammed solid. They gathered round and talked it over.
It seems to me she's absolutely completely stuck.
We've talked it over, Nellie. and we've come to a decision.
Yes?
We've all decided you're stuck.
Stuck?
Yep.
Oh, dear.
Poor Nellie. She felt so silly. She was taken to a siding by an old castle up on a hill. A flag was flying because the Queen was there on holiday. The guard went home. Soon it began to get dark. The moon rose over the railway siding and a large tear ran down Nellie's cheek and scampered off as fast as it could. All night Nellie sat there wondering what would happen to her. She tried and tried to set herself free, but by the time morning came, she still couldn't budge. The sun peeked over the castle walls, and the train's guard arrived for work.
You still here, Nellie? Looks like we're stuck with you forever.
Nellie was not in the mood for jokes.
I'm not in the mood for jokes.
But just when she thought that all was lost, she heard it. That special sound. It came, as always, floating on the breeze and drifting in the wind. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. And it filled her with new strength. Nellie took a deep breath, wriggled her hips, and burst free of the train. She raised her trunk and did a fanfare for the Queen as she trundled off to the jungle once again.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
Step right up, hurry, 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 all aboard for Bert's mystery tour.
A visit to a stately home, look at life at the bottom of the sea, and finally, a mystery destination. Excuse me, Bert, is the mystery destination Mandalay?
Hello, Nellie. Good to see you again. I'm sorry, strict orders, you see. I can't reveal our final destination, but why don't you come along? You're sure to have a good time, and you can take some lovely snaps to show your friends. You find yourself a seat at the back, and we'll be off. Folks, there's a tray of currant buns just in front of you, Nellie. Help yourself.
How thoughtful.
And Nellie helped herself to quite a few currant buns. Suddenly, everyone was thrown back in their seats. Guess you've eaten too many, Nellie. The coach is overbalanced. You better move along to the middle. And there's our first stop, a stately home. Knock on the door, Nellie, and tell them we're here.
Excuse me, we've come to see the stately home.
Sorry. Come back next Tuesday. Well, closed for repairs. Oh.
Driver, when are we going to see life at the bottom of the sea?
Any minute now, madam, as soon as we get to the aquarium.
The passengers stared in wonder as one by one strange creatures of the ocean depths floated by. Oh, my. Well, what a surprise that was. The passengers cheered and applauded.
We want Nellie! We want Nellie! We want... We're almost there, folks. The last stop of the mystery tour. Round this next bend. And hey, presto, the circus!
As the happy passengers left the bus to stroll around the circus grounds, one passenger was missing. As Nellie slipped away into the night, the sounds of the circus seemed to fade away. And she heard another sound, one that always reminded her of home. It came floating on the breeze and drifting in the wind. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
Extra, extra, read all about it. Wild elephant escapes from circus, last seen at the railway station. Extra, extra.
Dear, oh dear, a wild elephant in this very station?
Yes, it could be anywhere.
Do not worry, madam, sir. I, the ringmaster, am hot on the trail of that savage animal. I'll find her wherever she is.
Oh, I was hoping I'd never see that ringmaster again. And there he is, just a few feet away. I won't make a sound, and then perhaps he'll go away. Achoo!
Bless you. That's Nellie. Nellie ran as fast as she could, but the ringmaster was gaining with every step.
Balloons! Balloons!
Get your balloons here.
Buy a balloon, Nellie!
Oh, I'd like to buy one, but I'm in a terrible hurry. The ringmaster is after me. Where can I hide?
In this big store. Quickly, we'll try to delay him.
You can depend on us, Nellie. We'll save you.
Which way did that elephant go?
Well now, was it a big elephant or a small elephant?
A boy elephant or a girl elephant?
Did it have stripes or spots?
Or polka dots?
Stripes, spots, polka dots. I'm chasing an elephant, not a pair of curtains.
The ringmaster searched everywhere in the big store.
I'm sure Nellie's in here somewhere. But where can she be?
Now, it was the ringmaster's turn to try a clever trick.
Currant buns! Hot currant buns!
Excuse me, I'd like 2 currant buns, please. Oh, no!
Oh, yes!
Quick, Nellie! Follow us down the laundry chute.
With the ringmaster only seconds behind Nellie, all seemed lost. But not quite. The balloon sellers had a daring escape plan.
Stop! You're going back to the circus with me, do you hear, Nellie? Back to the circus!
And then, as Nellie drifted high above the city and away to safety, she heard that familiar sound. It came, as always, floating on the breeze and drifting in the wind. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. Perhaps this time, Nellie really was on her way back to the jungle. Back to Mandalay.
Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.
Nellie had been given the address of someone who could take her to Mandalay.
Who's there?
Nellie.
Yes, come in. How do you do? I'm Professor Pottybrain.
How do you do? I believe you can travel anywhere, so could you take me to Mandalay, please?
Possibly. Maybe. Oh, this.
What is it?
It controls my time machine. Whatever you do, don't press that button.
This button?
Yes.
Wow, it's an elephant!
Nice work, kid. What's your name?
Nellie.
You can be my new deputy. Here's your badge.
Hear ye! The King's champions, Abbati Thunderguts. He accepts a challenge from anyone brave enough to fight him.
Where am I?
Come on, I'll cut you to pieces, you lily-livered squirt. It's a monster!
Your name, young sire?
Nellie.
Arise, son Nellie!
Oh, no, not again. Now, where am I? Hello. Here, let me help. There. Wheels. Wheels. Oh, now I really must try and get home.
Here we are. Yes, yes, yes. Found it. Now then, 2 for 1. Yes, that should do it.
Am I really going back to Mandalay, Professor?
When I'm ready,
Oh, I'm so excited I could...
And then Nellie heard it. It came, as always, drifting in the wind and floating on the breeze. The head of the herd was calling.
Oh, do hurry up, Professor.
Yes, yes, yes. Don't rush me. Funny, I thought I heard someone call your name, Nellie. Right then. All set?
All set.
3, 2...
Mandalay, here I come.
1... Woo! It works! It works! That's the first time I've done that! Goodbye, Nellie!
Goodbye! Goodbye! Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and trundled back to the jungle. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump. The head of the herd was calling from far, far away. They met one night in the silver light on the road to Mandalay. So Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 trump.